Ramesh, let's talk a bit about the elephant in the room. The average management student thinks that a career in the insurance industry is boring, dry, and the career will be just going out and selling insurance like a salesman.
Right.
You've been in the insurance industry for the last 12 years, and you've really had a great experience. Could you talk a bit more about it, and what can an average management student look at in the insurance industry?
Frankly speaking, when you said that the average student doesn't know much about insurance industry and believes that's a dry industry, it's boring, it's staid, it's old world, and therefore doesn't offer too much, it's not an exciting opportunity as a career opportunity, they're not wrong in thinking what they're thinking. But the reality is very different from that. I used to work with Standard Chartered Bank in the exciting area of credit cards for a period of about 7 years. And then I got this opportunity to join insurance. At that point in time, 2000, 2001, the industry was being opened up by the government for private sector participation.
Right.
And it seemed like a sunrise industry. I said, okay, so let's go for it. But so whatever I'm going to say is going to be based on my last 12 years experience in Tata AIG. Trust me, there's never been a dull moment. And I'm a guy who gets bored with status quo. So as you go through marketing, you have Philip Kotler telling you so many P's and all that. I'm telling you, every single P we deploy it. So it's not theory really, so it's interesting.
Right.
And you keep innovating all of that, product, place, people, promotion. Wow, I think it's a fantastic industry. Also consider the fact that the industry has been growing at about 25% CAGR for the last 12 years. And I can't think of too many industries in the country which are growing at that pace. It's just fantastic. General insurance alone is a $12 billion industry. And the prognosis is that by 2030, this will become a $300 billion industry. And I think it's a great opportunity for students who are passing on in the next few years to genuinely look at insurance as a career opportunity.
In fact, you're talking about innovation, and Tata AIG is considered one of the most innovative companies in the space.
Right.
Maybe you can talk a bit about some of the innovations that the company's done, like the whole
shopping
network.
It's very interesting, So this was about 2 years back, and I'm going to be limiting myself probably to innovation and distribution.
Sure.
Up until 2001, when people like us came into the market, the only way people could buy insurance product was to get it from the agent of the company, right? But what we've done is we've experimented with a lot of channels. Some of them may sound wacky, really. Who would ever imagine that as boring or staid a product like insurance could ever be, sold on the home shopping channel? But guess what? So we use this CNBC home shopping, and HS18 is called this channel. And every 20 seconds that we go on air every day for about 27 minutes. Every minute or every 20 seconds we get an inquiry. Then the other way of distributing is a travel insurance product. So these days it's not a fad, it's very common to find people go on the net and buy tickets. So I could go to Indigo, I could go to SpiceJet, go to Go Airways, go on Clear Trip, go on Make My Trip. You go to any of these sites, once you finalize your ticket, you get a small little option that says, I also want to travel insurance for 129 rupees. That's it. Today, I think we do something like about 1,000 policies a day.
As you know, a major chunk of India is in the rural sector and uninsured.
Yes.
So, could you talk about some of the distribution innovations you've done?
Oh wow! I mean, it's an incredible area that it sets you thinking. It sets you thinking, how do we do it? It's a huge challenge. Is it a great opportunity? Absolutely, it's a great opportunity. But in as much as it is an opportunity, I think it's also a huge challenge. It's not easy to reach out. Our people go to the villages. They have a simple computer with optical instruments to take the fingerprint, and then we issue a card. So it's a biometric card that we issue on the spot.
Okay.
Which entitles the family to a 30,000 rupee cover every year. So here was a chance. Just a few years back, they had no access to healthcare, and today they are. All they have to pay is a meager 30 rupees, and then there's a certain part of the insurance premium that's paid by the state government, and another part by the central government. So in the bargain, I think today we have something like about 40-50 million people who are covered by the scheme. So that's one example. Then you also have the rural folks are, in terms of livelihood, all they have is a cattle, right? They have some bit of cattle, and that's their source of livelihood. So it's dairy farming or agriculture, right? So if they have cattle, there's an insurance scheme for cattle as well. But there is a chance when a guy has got, let's say, 10 cows, and he says, these are 10 cows I want to insure. There's no guarantee that some cow dies and I as an insurance company have to pay for it. right? So there's a huge danger of frauds happening. So what we do is we have started using RIFD, these are tags, right? Which make sure that people cannot do frauds.
Okay.
We also have recently come up with a mobile app which allows an enroller to take the photograph of the cattle and fill up a few details about the cattle, and immediately he sends it to a central server. That eliminates the possibility of any kind of fraud happening. So it's a wow thing, because there are 900 million people who have a mobile. So all these guys who go out have a mobile, they use that to take the photo of the cattle, and they send a few details, and immediately we're able to issue policy, as well as in the event of death of the cattle, we're able to check the photograph and see if the right cattle is being, if they're seeking claims for the right cattle.
It's interesting. One thing that we do in Center for Management is try to build up a very strong ethical base with our students and make them understand about ethics. Brilliant. But unfortunately, the media has very few role models to really follow. But you've been very lucky. You've worked with two very strong ethical companies, Wipro and Tata. Can you talk a bit about your experience about the ethics in business and what you experienced with that?
So I had the great opportunity of working for two great companies in India. One is Wipro Infotech. The chairman is Mr. Premji. And I've also still working for the Tatas for the last 12 years actually. And the Ratan Tata, of course, is an icon, a role model for everybody, not just in the country, but I guess across the globe. UK, if you go and ask people, they revere that man, Mr. Ratan Tata. But the best part is both of them talk in terms of what is the impact that you as an individual make on everybody. Business should not be measured just by profits you make, but by the impact that it makes on the society. For me, what is interesting is, while they've stuck on the ethics, it's never been at the cost of the company's fortunes. So that's been the bedrock on which both companies have really built such a huge empire.
So, Ramesh, you were talking about ethics, and of course, as you know, one of the biggest issues that customers have with the insurance industry is the fact that their claims not settled on time.
Absolutely.
What are your views on the topic?
Up until the time that we came in, the general principle was that if I had a claim, I would seek my agent, and through him I'll approach the company. But the beauty is that we said, listen, you know what, we're going to set up a 24/7 call center, because an accident can happen anytime. It can be 12 o'clock at night. So we've got a 24/7 call center operation, which is only for claims, and everybody scoffed at us at that point. They said, excuse me, but agent is there, everybody puts his claim through the agent. Do you think the call center will be good? And we said, no, that's the way to do it. And I'm just delighted that every month we get about 12,000, 13,000 claims, and 99% of the claims come out of phone. I know of an experience where the customer he met with an accident, went to the garage, called down, and said, okay, hold on, our surveyor is reaching the place, because we are the first to pioneer with something called the mobile claims. So while the guy was there in the garage, our surveyor comes in a car and hands him over the check. You know what was the reaction of the guy? He couldn't believe his eyes. He actually calls up again and says, there's a guy claiming to be from Tata AIG, and he's got me this check. Is this check for real? So what we do as insurance company is to strive real hard to make sure that the moment of truth in insurance really claims. We want to make sure that experience for the customer is wow.